And turning on the slide. And again, most of y'all do not have a problem with those three on the board. Okay? Where do y'all have problems? People have problems with algebra when you start adding several things to the equation. Like the distributive law, like combining like terms, like fractions and decimals. And when you have those, that's when people get messed up. So, if you have something like x plus 2 is equal to 4, then you can take, how do you get rid of a positive 2? You subtract 2. And if you do it on one side, you got to do it on the other. And most of y'all know how to do that. And over here, how do you get rid of a 4? You subtract 4. And if you do it on one side, you do it on the other. And now how do you undo multiplying by 3? You divide by 3. And most of you know how to do that. Over here, 2x, bring the x over. And that would be a minus 1x. And 3 is equal to, what's 1x minus 2x minus 1x? X. So all three of those, most of you know how to do. But where do people have problems? People have problems when you start putting 2 or 3 of these things together. That's when people have problems. So, and of course they're showing you how to do these problems. I'm not going to go through that. There's the first one. Okay. Determine. Okay, we're going to go through determine. Determine whether 2, wait a minute, hold on.
Lord Jesus, I should just give up.
I'm just what? Why should you give up?
Because I hate exponents. I'm not even going to lie to you.
Well, you'll be okay. We'll get it. I'm just trying to get to the right slide right now. And nothing is helping me. Okay, we just did that one. That's the one, okay. That's checking. Okay, determine. You remember the first slide I gave y'all? It said evaluate and determine. What did I tell you that meant? Plug and chug. Read that question, and I want you to put it in your notes because this is a test question. Remember I told you there was going to be one evaluate and one determine. Here's the determine. It says determine whether 2 is a solution to the equation. So if I told y'all that determine means plug and chug, then what are you going to plug in? You're going to plug 2 in wherever there's a x. If it comes out true, then it's a solution. If it comes out false, it's not a solution. 3 parentheses squared plus 7 times parentheses minus 11 is equal to 15. Plug in a 2, plug in a 2. 3 times 4 plus 14 minus 11. 3 times 4 is what? Now you go left to right. 12 plus 14 is what? 26 minus 11 is equal to 15. So does it come out to be true? Yes. If it comes out to be true, then that number is a solution. If it comes out false, then it is not a solution. And 12 plus 14 is 26. 26 minus 11 is 15, and 15 is equal to 15. So now you've got 2 questions on the test. You've got evaluate and determine. The rest is going to be nothing but solving equations. Now, I'm going to show you, when I get to the equation, there's what we just did. Okay? When we get to the equations, I'm going to show you what's test questions and which are not. And I just told you, we're going through this kind of fast. Okay, property of equality. Okay, remember, how do you get rid of a positive A? We're going to do a little review here. And you can write down the equation over there. You don't have to write down the whole thing. You add the A. If you add it on one side, you got to add it on the other. And that's how you solve that equation. Remember, these are one-step equations. 95% of you can do one-step equations without any problem. And that's what we did with those equations I showed you. Okay? How about subtraction? How do you get rid of a positive 11? You subtract 11. So I'm going to leave this on the board for a couple of seconds. So that way if you're watching it online, I mean if you're watching it on YouTube, you can pause it. But there is, how do you get rid of a positive 11? You subtract 11. If you do it on one side, you got to do it on the other. How many of you have heard take 11 across the river and it becomes negative? How many of you have heard that before? Same concept. If you take 11, take it across the river, it's minus 11. If you take 19 across the river, it becomes a negative 19. I don't care which method you use, as long as you use one of them. Okay? What about multiplication? What's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So if division, multiplication is one. So if I'm dividing by 4, how do I undo dividing by 4? You multiply by 4. And that's how you do that. Like I say, 95% of you know how to do these without any problem. And division, or multiplication. How do you undo multiplying by 7? You divide by 7. And when you do that, you get your answer. Now those are the 4 operations. And like I said, most of you, if I gave y'all a test with 10 of these on it, most of y'all would make an A or a B. Okay? But that's not what I'm going to test you on. Okay? I'm just going to leave this white, because I don't know what they're going to show. I'm going to show you what I showed. Now, write this down. Combining like terms, CLT. That's one thing that y'all suck at. 2, y'all suck at the distributive property. And 3, you suck at fractions and what? Decimals. But I'm showing you how to tackle fractions and decimals. Some of y'all know how to add fractions now. Okay? And I'm going to show you how to clear them. Using the what? The common denominator. So let me give you an example of one that you might see with combining like terms. 2x minus 7 plus 5x is equal to 2 plus 8. All right, that is a equation where you can't just solve it right quick. You've got to combine like terms first. So I'm going to take my handy dandy highlighter, because I'm such a good instructor, and I'm going to animate that one and that one, because they are what? They're like terms. So 2x plus 5x is 7x minus 7 is equal to 2 plus 8. Now I'm doing this in a methodical way because I'm teaching people that suck at it so they will get better at it. I'm not teaching the people that already know it. So here and here is, and this one, but I can't do anything with this one yet. So I'm just going to put a dashed circle around this one because I got to move it over here. I got to take it across the river. So when I do that, I get 7x. Hold on a second. This is for y'all. 7x. And what happens when I take that negative 7 across the river?
Plus.
It becomes a plus 7. And now I get 17 and divide by 7. And x is equal to 17 over what? 7. So that's the first type of problem that students have trouble with. Capiche? Now, these are just 3 types. Can I mix these 3 types up and have 4 and 5? Yes. But you got to be able to understand these 3 before you can do 4 and 5. So let's delete this. Where did I delete? Let's hit. I don't want to delete. I just want to delete this part. I know I'm going over probably 3 or 4 slides here, but again, I attack y'all from, I want to know what y'all know versus I'm assuming that y'all don't know anything. So I want y'all to tell me what you do and what you're comfortable with and not comfortable with. So I'm going to move on to the distributive law. 2 times x minus 3 plus 7 is equal to 3 times x minus 1 plus 2. Now I want you to go ahead and try that. Again, I may have some people that don't even know how to start it. And then I may have some people that invented it.
Me.
Yeah. So, what do you do first? You got to distribute. Why do you have to distribute? Because you can't do anything with this x minus 3 until you get rid of the parentheses. So you're going to have to attack the parentheses first. So I've got to distribute and distribute. And now, after you distribute, you're going to have the problem that we just did on the previous screen. 2x minus 6, or 1 like it, is equal to 3x minus 3 plus 2. What's the most common mistakes students make on this problem right here? Anybody want to take a guess? No? They forget to distribute to the 3 and to the 1. That's what they forget. Now you have the problem that you had before. So I'm going to take my handy dandy highlighter, just like I did before, and I'm going to highlight this one, that one, this one, and this one. 2x. You owe somebody $6, you have $7, you have $1. 3x, you owe $3, you have $2, you still owe $1. I'm going to bring this 2x over across the river and bring this 1 across the river, and x is equal to what? 2. Now go ahead and somebody say something about what I just did. Oh my God, I took the x to the right side. That's a cardinal sin, isn't it? How many of you have had teachers tell you that the x has to be on the left-hand side? That's like going to the playground and telling your daughter and your son that they have to sit on the left and the right-hand side, and if they go to another playground in Greenville County Your little boy can't sit on the right-hand side. He has to sit on the left-hand side of the seesaw. How smart is that? Why did I not take the 3 over to the left?
Because there's more.
Because it would have made it negative. Do I like negatives? Do I want to play around with negatives? Yes or no?
No, because I don't like them.
Exactly. So, Miss Woodward, you would do like I do. When I was a student, I did not like negatives. And I would do anything I could to keep away from negatives. So I always took the smallest x to the other side. What's smaller, 2x or 3x?
2.
If you always take the smallest x over, you never will have a negative exponent. I mean a negative variable.
I hate negatives and exponents, period.
Well, we're going to try to work
the
through
whole
both.
chapter.
Let's just quit.
Okay.
Okay.
Down.
Quit. All right, now, fractions and decimals. So we might as well just quit because y'all can do those. When you have fractions and decimals in a equation, don't y'all agree this one's pretty easy? Because it doesn't have fractions and decimals. Well, when you have fractions and decimals, you clear them so you can have one of these equations that we just did. Or, if you like pain, you can go ahead and work with them. But I'm not going to, and I'm not going to teach you to work with them. I'm going to teach you to clear them. So, 1/2 x plus 3/2 is equal to 3/4. Now this one's pretty simple, but it's got 3 fractions in it, so it would scare most of you off as far as doing it on a test. But what is the common denominator of 2 and 4? 2, 4. Good job. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1. 4. So I'm going to multiply both sides by what? 4 over 1. Now I'm going to put a baby step in here because I do realize that some of you have never seen this before. So I'm going to put a 4 over 1 here, a 4 over 1 here, and a 4 over 1 here. Now I'm going to rewrite my equation. 1 over 2x plus 3 over 2 equals 3 over 4. The little multiplication symbol between them. There you go. Now let's take out the red pen. What do we always do with the red pen? Cancel. So how many times will 2 go into 4? 2 times. How many times will 2 go into 4? 2 times. 4 will go into 4. 1 time. And look what we have. Just a regular 2x plus, what's 2 times 3? 6 is equal to 3. And now you got a problem you can work with. And how do we get rid of a positive 6? You subtract 6. 2x is equal to negative 3. And x is equal to negative 3/2. Now, like I said, you know, there's different. This is a pretty simple one. I'm gonna put another one on the board here in a second, and it's gonna be a little bit more complicated. Now, what am I doing today? Y'all supposed to be mastering these today? No, what I'm doing is I'm giving you a little taste of each kind of problem, and then you're going to go home and work on, what section is this? 6.1? You're going to go home and work on 6.1 or 6.2, whatever the case may be, and you're going to start sending me questions, and then we're going to start working from there. But I'm not just going to throw you into the homework without doing a few of the problems I'm going to just put the whole thing. Okay. Now here's another one. 1/2 x minus 3. Let's leave that minus 3. Plus 2/3 is equal to 4/5. Now what's the difference in this one?
Gotta distribute.
Well, you do not distribute first, but you have to distribute
Denominator.
in front of the parentheses, right? So you can distribute, and instead of having 4 or 3 fractions, you're going to have 4 fractions. Or you can get rid of the fractions first. Which one do you think we're going to do?
Get rid of the
Get rid
fractions.
of the fractions first. And what is the common denominator of 2, 3, and 5? Probably 30, but check.
30.
I'm going to check. That's what I wanted y'all to do, but y'all didn't.
3 times 5 is 6.
That's not.
We did it without a calculator in our head,
2,
mentally.
3, 5. See, that's what gets me. I show y'all how to do things. And it's not just you. I show you students how to do things, and do they listen? Hell no.
Well, I did that because they're prime, so I knew
2, I know, I'm just messing with you. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13. 2, 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, 1, 5, and 5, 1, 1, 1. And like she said, they're all prime, so you can multiply them together.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so there you're going to get added to you. That's why you're not going to pass this class, no matter what you make. So, oh well, try to tell these people, they won't listen. Multiply by 30 over 1. Now, I'm going to do that with a baby step. 30 over 1, 30 over 1, 30 over 1. Now I'm going to rewrite my equation. 1/2 times x minus 3 plus 2/3 equals 4/5. Now I want y'all to finish it, because after this step, you're going to have a real easy Algebra 1 problem. And no, you do not need a calculator. Because everybody knows that 15 times 3 is 45. So what's 30? Take my red pen. And what's 30 divided by 2?
15.
And what's 30 divided by 3? And what's 30 divided by 5? Now, I've got 15 times x minus 3 plus 20 is equal to, now isn't that a whole lot easier to work with? Distribute 15, 15x minus 45 plus 20 is equal to 24. Now we've got combining what? So I got to take my handy dandy highlighter, because I'm trying to teach y'all something. And that gives me 15x. What's negative 45 plus 20?
25.
Negative 25. Now I'm going to take the negative 25 across the river. And that gives me 15x is equal to 49.
Yep.
And divide by 15. And that gives you 49/15. So see, that's not difficult. As soon as you clear the fractions, you've got a regular Algebra 1 problem.
So So no matter if it's like an improper fraction or not, like you still
Doesn't
leave
matter.
it, you don't solve it?
Doesn't matter, you clear it. Improper or proper, you clear it. They're not going to put a mixed number in there. So it's going to be proper or improper. Doesn't matter. Okay, now let's do a decimal.
Ugh.
Now remember, to get rid of a decimal, you just have to remember your secret rule, and that's count to the zeros and move to the right. Remember, if you're multiplying by 10, you count the number of zeros and you move to the right one place. Multiply by 100, you move 2 places because of what? 2 zeros. 3 places. How many places you move? Move 3 places. So when you're multiplying by 100 or tens, base of 10, you move it to the what? To the right. What about when you're dividing by 10? Since it's 1 0, you move the decimal to the left one place. Divided by 100, you move the decimal 2 places to the left. Divide by 1,000. Since you got 3 zeros, you move the decimal 1, 2, 3 places to the left. So that's your little secret weapon that you got whenever you clear the fractions. So, decimals. 0.12 times x minus 1 is equal to 0.48 times x plus 2. So I'm going to multiply. What you do, first thing you do, furthest place value taken. All right, what place value is taken with this point and this point? That's the tenths and the what? What's place value is 2 and 8 in? What?
10.
Tenths is the 1 and the 4. What place value?
100.
Is the hundreds. So you're going to multiply, since it's to the hundredths, you're going to multiply by what? 100. So I'm going to take my handy dandy blue marker, and I'm going to multiply this whole thing by 100. Now I'm going to put a baby step in here. 100 and 100 times 0.12 x minus 1 equals 0.48 x plus 2. Now what is that 100 multiplied by 1.12, what does that do to the decimal?
It makes it,
Makes it 12. X minus 1. And what does the 100 times 0.48 do? 48 times x plus 2. Now you got an algebra 1 problem. Finish it. If you get it wrong, it's not Russia's fault anymore. Whose fault is it? Ukrainian. It's the Ukrainians' fault.
All right, now I'm stuck.
I'm Hubert. Nice to meet you.
Not
All right,
very
so I'm going to distribute that 12. And I get 12x minus 12 is equal to 48x plus what? 96?
Yeah.
Now, which one is smaller, 12x or 48x?
12.
So I'm going to move 12 over.
That's where I screwed up.
And what's 48 minus 12? 36, Hubert.
Yeah, sorry.
Now, what am I going to do with the positive 96?
Subtract.
Take it across the river, and it becomes minus 96. That's going to be what, 108?
Yep. Negative.
So 36x is equal to negative 108, and negative 108 over 36, y'all can reduce that down, is equal to x. Negative 54 over 18, negative 27 over 9. That comes out to be negative 3. Wow. I wasn't expecting that. So your answer is negative 3. And I guarantee you there's somebody in here right now, you don't have to raise your hand, that went through 12 years of school and didn't know that they could clear the fractions, clear the decimals whenever they had one of these. I guarantee you. So let's try one more. And then when y'all come back, we'll go over questions that mix and matches all of them. Gotta crawl before you can what? Walk. Well, yeah. So here we go. 0.1 x minus 2 plus 0.05 is equal to 0.6 times x minus 1 minus 0.3. Now, the first thing you got to do is tell me which is the furthest place value taken.
0.05 to
The hundredths, right?
Yep.
So you got to multiply the whole thing by 100. So I want you to go ahead and do that. So that means you got to move the decimal on anything that has a decimal in it. You're going to have to move it 2 places to the right. And of course, that means you're going to have to add a 0 to 3 of your terms. I'm going to put a baby step in there for you. 100, 100, 100, 100.
Push.
I've been sneezing and coughing all week. It's Ukrainians' fault.
I don't know. Someone's been coughing in your class for the last couple of days, so just saying.
They must be Ukrainian. Well, all these behind me, they're in the Marlboro Club, so. X minus 1 minus 0.3.
I don't want to play.
Yeah, I've always had waking up beside somebody that smokes 3 packs of Marlboro Reds a day. Woo!
Cowboy killer, boy.
What?
That's some cowboy killer, boy. I had a teacher, I was taking mechatronics at the Pickens County Career Center.
Uh-huh.
And I had this teacher, and we went to it's called Skills USA. It's like a big competition. You see who's got the best school or whatever.
Yeah.
And I asked if I could ride with him since I wasn't competing. I didn't want to
Oh,
ride
my
with
God.
everybody else. And, well, I'm going to tell you what, he went through 3 packs of Marlboro Reds from Chastain Road and Liberty to the Anderson Civic Center.
Oh.
I kid you not.
That's a headache. That would
That
give
ain't
me
no-
a headache.
There's 2 or 3 things that I've never been able to do. One is to say that, you know, my own sex is beautiful. I ain't never been able to say that. The other is I've never been able to smoke, and I've never been able to eat beef liver. And I think those 3 things are about the only thing I can't do.
Oh my gosh, one of my exes, they fed me cow tongue without me knowing. I like threw up. Oh god.
Now you don't know. I've tried beef liver. I've tried it. I've tried it any way you can cook it, and I just can't. I just don't like it.
That's how I am with deer meat. I can't eat deer meat.
Me either. Like it's got that funny taste and it stinks.
Well, that's because it's not cooked right.
Right.
All right. So
See,
tell
I
me,
like
I'm going to
to-
use my magenta, and I'm going to move 2 places here, and I'm going to move 2 places here, and I'm going to move 2 places here, and 2 places here. So let's see what we got now. Let me fix this. So now we've got 10 times x minus 2, which is those parentheses, brackets, however you want to do it, I don't care, plus 5 is equal to 60 times x minus 1 minus 30. And now you have an Algebra 1 problem.
I hate
10x minus 20 plus 5 is equal to 60x minus 60 minus 30. All right, finish it. If you can't finish it, we'll just write it up as a failure. And you should probably, think about dropping. So what, you owe $20, you have $5. What do you owe?
15.
So you still owe $15. You owe $60, this is more like me. You owe $60 and you owe $30, you owe what?
9.
And I'm going to bring, which x over?
10.
I'm going to bring the 10x over, and it becomes minus 10x. And I'm going to bring the 90 over, that's going to be plus 90. So what's 60 minus 10? 50x. And what's negative 15 plus 90? What is it, 75? And that's going to give me x is equal to 75 over 50, which is 3 over what? 2. Now, can y'all see why people have problems with algebra if they have
Where
never
did you
been
get
told?
15?
I'm sorry, what?
Where'd you get 15 from?
Oh, that's
Sorry.
something I do.
Oh, the negative 20
Negative
and 5.
20
Okay,
plus
never
5.
mind.
Now you can see why people can't pass algebra because they've never been shown how to clear fractions or decimals. Yeah, I'm telling you, you didn't get your money's worth, or you didn't listen in high school, one of
We
the
didn't get
two.
no money in high school.
What?
You said you didn't get your money's worth.
You don't get your money's worth. It's called an expression.
Mm-mm.
Something that y'all are not used to because your mom and dad don't teach y'all.
Hey, we pay taxes for that school, so we kind of
Yeah, we
have
do.
to get our money.
Yeah, no, it's free.
It's sad of you.
It's free.
It's sad of you to assume that
It's
we have
free.
mom and dad.
Oh, whatever.
We did have to pay to go to high school. That's what I'm saying. Like, what's he mean? Oh, never mind. Yep, that's not getting our
I had to
Bernie's going to save us all. He's going to give us free education, free health care, free everything. All right, I'm going to shut her down,
Thank you.
and y'all have a good weekend.